You, the reason I smile, my baby. Trust is a fragile bridge, built quietly between two souls, plank by plank, word by word, a structure you barely notice until the moment it trembles. It begins so simply, a glance that lingers, a second longer, a promise made without hesitation, a hand held without fear of letting go. In those early days, trust feels like breathing, effortless, invisible, something you never imagine losing. You speak freely, you dream loudly, you place your secrets into someone else's keeping as if they were weightless things. And maybe they are when carried with care. But trust is not made of iron, it is made of glass. Clear, beautiful, reflecting the light of honesty, yet always one careless moment away from breaking. The world will tell you that losing trust is sudden, a single mistake, a sharp crack in a quiet room. But often it is softer than that. A slow fading, a quiet erosion, a thousand tiny fractures that no one notices until the whole thing shatters. A word left unsaid, a truth slightly bent, a promise delayed, then forgotten. Little things, the kind people dismiss until they become everything. And when it breaks, it does not simply fall apart. It echoes. It echoes in silence between conversations. It echoes in questions you never used to ask. It echoes in the way you start to hold back pieces of yourself you once gave away so freely. Because losing trust is not just losing belief in someone, it is losing a version of yourself that existed only in their presence. The version of you that wasn't afraid. The version of you that didn't second guess every word. The version of you that believed love alone was enough. And rebuilding it, that is where the real story begins. They say it is the hardest thing in the world, and maybe that's true, because rebuilding trust is not about returning to what once was. You can't rewind time. You can't unbreak glass. You can't pretend the cracks never existed. Instead, you must gather the shattered pieces with trembling hands, accepting that some edges will always be sharp. Rebuilding trust means choosing to stay when leaving would be easier. It means speaking honestly, even when the truth is uncomfortable. It means showing up again and again until consistency begins to stitch the wounds closed. But even then, there is no guarantee because trust is not demanded, it is offered. And once broken, it returns slowly, like a hesitant sunrise after a long, uncertain night. Sometimes it never fully returns. Sometimes it comes back different, stronger in some places, weaker in others. Sometimes it transforms into something quieter, less naive, more aware of its own fragility. And yet, despite all of this, we continue to trust. We continue to open our hearts, to believe in people, to build bridges we know might collapse. Why? Because the human mind is not built for permanent fear. It is built for hope. It is built to dream of love that does not betray, to dream of promises that are kept, to dream of a connection so deep that trust is no longer fragile. It is unshakable. That is the beauty of the human mind. It does not learn only from pain. It dares to imagine beyond it. Even after betrayal, it whispers, try again. Even after heartbreak, it dares to say, maybe next time will be different. And in that quiet defiance, there is something powerful, because dreaming is an act of courage. To dream is to risk disappointment. To trust is to risk being hurt. To love is to risk losing everything. And still, we do it. We dream of futures we cannot see. We trust people we cannot fully know. We love with hearts that have already been broken. This is not weakness. This is the deepest strength we possess. Because the same mind that remembers pain also creates possibility. It builds entire worlds out of nothing. Worlds where trust is restored, where forgiveness is real, where people grow beyond their mistakes. And sometimes those dreams become reality. Sometimes people change. Sometimes apologies are sincere. Sometimes broken trust is rebuilt stronger than before because it is no longer blind. It is chosen. Chosen every day. Chosen in small actions, in honesty, in patience, in showing up even when it's difficult. Chosen in the quiet moments no one else sees. That is where trust lives. Not in grand gestures, but in consistency. Not in perfect words, but in truthful ones. Not in never making mistakes, but in taking responsibility when you do. And perhaps that is the true lesson. Trust is not something you simply have or lose. It is something you build, break, and rebuild again. A living, breathing thing that evolves with time, and the mind, that beautiful, restless mind, refuses to give up on it. It keeps dreaming of connection, of understanding, of a love where trust feels easy again, where you can speak without fear, where you can believe without doubt, where you can exist without holding pieces of yourself back. And maybe that dream is not unrealistic. Maybe it is a directio